The very first thing that we work on is when we get handed the brief and the lecturer runs down through it with us, explaining what the brief is asking of us and what we can do with it. And while you're talking to them, you can have 10 million different ideas come into your head, and you can write them down, draw them, and then you can go to a lecture and half them could get botched down.
What I tell people is, when I leave, they're like, what degree are you going to get? I'm like, I'm getting a degree in bullshit. I don't think the tutors here would agree with me too much, but it's basically what it is. The artist, what like doodling is to an artist is basically masturbation. It's one of those things where it's just like, you can do it nearly anytime, anywhere, but you kind of do it by yourself.
College is getting tough, and because I have to support myself on my own essentially, it got to me being exhausted all the time, me just not sleeping due to work and then going back into college. I was overwhelmed with the amount of work that I had to do.
I'm Mary Cox and I'm a 3D student in my 3rd year of college.
My name is Matthew. I'm doing the 4th year contemporary art.
My name is Alan, and I was the 4th year in the CCAM. I had to leave. It's just as simple as that. I got to a place where college wasn't helping me, and I feel that I've learned more since not being in college.
I'm very much of like a practical learner, where if I am making something and someone tells me that it will go wrong down the line if I do this and this, I will listen to them, but then I'll end up making that same mistake, but I'll only learn from that mistake if I make it myself. Like, I'm working with the way that I do my work, it's in a way of self-therapy. So it relaxes me and it like calms me down if I'm going through a really bad day or a really bad moment, whether it's messing with clay, working with it, like just moving it. And then when it comes to breaking stuff as well, because like everyone deals with their stuff differently, whether they create things or destruct things, I can do both.
Like even with college, like 1st and 2nd year, I wasn't too happy doing any of the work because it was all kind of just stuff I wasn't really interested in doing. It's just like fulfilling the brief kind of thing, having to do it for the dude. It's like, even with the one I'm doing now, which is about my mental health, that one, most days I feel good about it because it's kind of like, as most people have been saying, it's kind of like a beacon of positivity, and kind of like at least somebody's starting to talk about it and that kind of thing. So in most days it makes me feel good. The only days it makes me feel bad is when I'm like, what do I do now?
I'm an expressionist artist, so it was typically whatever I was feeling. I like to put anything that I'm experiencing right now into the work that I'm producing. I like putting pieces of myself into my work, and since leaving college, I suppose I've just been doing more art. You'd think that wouldn't be the case, but no, I've been doing a lot more drawing and a lot more of my own personal work, filling sketchbooks on my own time, just things for my own eyes, really.
I think people think of me as a loud, crazy person that's running around like mad. So, like, with people that know me and they see my art, they can find the connection that I'm making. But when people don't know you and don't know your art, they can just look at it and be confused and be like, all right, well, that's a painting, or that's hand casually on a plinth on a board. Like, what's the meaning behind this? Because not everyone's going to get the meaning.
They asked me, there was something completely different to do with mental health. They were like, oh, your project is about this. I'm like, well, I'm making it for this reason. If this is how you're interpreting it, I'm more than happy for that to be known for that. Like, fair enough. Like, I'm not going to say like, no, you can't have that idea because this is my thing. This is how I want it. I showed people the body cast of me and like, self-imprisonment, like kind of being shut off from the world, like more self-secluding, isolating thing, instead of anxiety, depression, this kind of thing. I'm more than happy for someone to identify with that and someone go, okay, someone else knows what's going on.
I was feeling quite overwhelmed this year throughout college, and there was just, it got to a point where I was barely able to even leave bed to go into college, and it becomes a vicious circle from there of me falling behind, not being able to catch back up, more work being piled on top of it. I mean, we had a thesis, right? That was quite a lot of stress. I'm just not in the right headspace right now to continue the studies there. Oh my God, the headaches when you're sitting in the studio and you have just this creative block. This is the worst thing. When you're on a deadline and you're just working towards the piece and you just can't get it, always. This happens so frequently.
The steps are stressful, but if you have them written out and you just follow them, it's fine. It's just when it comes to taking the actual cast out of the mould, ripping it apart, it's stressful when you're already in a peaceful mindset. But if you're not in a peaceful mindset, you're going to have so much fun trying to rip it apart. I try and capture feelings in my work, whether it's dark and serious emotions as well as happy and harmonious. It can be quite difficult sometimes because you have to be in that particular mood. You can come in one day and you can be in a mood where you just don't want to deal with anybody and you'd rather be closed off alone, and that can affect your work. And the next day you can come in and look at it and be like, why did I make that? Like, that looks so horrible, because you're in a better mindset now. So whatever mood that you're in, it will control the way that your work will come out, and that's the way that it is as an artist. Whatever mood you put in is the mood and the message that's coming out of it. If you want a good message, you can't work on your work while you're pissed off, whether the message is coming across the same or slightly different. Like, everybody has good and bad days.
Yeah, mental health, like, I said this for a while now, it was always something that was kind of in the background of, like, project and art wise, obviously more like in the forefront of myself, because I was always like really anxious, like really like bad, like paranoia, anxiety, just, it was just like a ball of just constant like self-deprecation and just stress, and it's only like, especially with like the video that I did that you were saying, that was kind of the first time I really confronted everything that's happened. So basically the whole idea to that was I basically stripped down to my underwear to kind of show more vulnerability, because the whole idea was I was meant to just sit there and act as I was when I used to have anxiety, so scratch and bite myself and all that again. But what ended up happening was my mate interviewed me about everything that did happen. So we had basically a full hour of me literally talking about when my anxiety started, basically how stressful it got, and on top of that, like all the paranoia, then like basically up to suicide attempts and all this kind of stuff on top of that. So very much like a unbagging session, but like, for as much as that video isn't like published or like got together and edited properly, like I still, no matter when it's finished or unfinished, I'm still gonna call it The Purge, because ever since then my attitude towards everything has been so much better. Like,
I don't know what I want to do. I have no real plans at the moment. I hope that I'm living somewhere a little cleaner, I suppose. But 5 years time, hopefully more successful. I'm feeling good about the future. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good now. We shall see.
The brief that I'm working with is body and identity, and they're two things that I have severe problems with, and being able to use my art to take out the tension, to be able to release that tension, for it to make its own thing and to to go back and look at it, it's like, I made this, I created this from feeling such a way, and it's amazing. And I can turn around and be like, I don't need someone coming up to me saying that my work is amazing, because I can say it myself now. So
like, just art in general helps. Like, going to, God, like, even for me, like, going to galleries and stuff, I don't do it that often, but when I do, and I go and I just, God, you could have like 50, 100 pieces in like a small gallery or like a large gallery, whatever, and even just one thing you see, you might go, okay, maybe that's what I need to do. So, God, in more than, put it this way, I don't have enough fingers on my hands to actually count how many ways art helps. It's just, it's otherworldly in some ways, like, crazy. I love it.